Hi guys, please don't miss this exceptional video of MSNBC Cenk Uygur today about teachers versus Wall Street. But don't go away after the end of this video. There is information I want to share with you, very important, regarding how we can make $154 billion in a snap of a finger, just raising taxes to the right people without touching benefits to anyone and without cutting spending in sectors that are very important for us. First of all, it's the opposite of what the Republican says. In 2008 nationwide, state workers earn 11% less than private workers. And other lie from the Republicans. In 2008 nationwide, local government workers earn 12% less than private sector workers. And looking at this New York Times CBS poll, 56% nationwide favor cutting public employee pay benefits. 56% against 37%. And 2-to-1 nationwide, they oppose cutting collective bargaining rights of public employees. 60%. The same poll in Wisconsin passed from 60% to 61%. And compared to what the Republican governors want, only 3% of the people wants to decrease education funding, which is pretty weird. And the most interesting statistics before the video, before the final comments after the video, is that in Wisconsin, the unions are favored by 42% against 31%. So people are for union.
The battle in Wisconsin is going straight to the question of what this country values. What's more important to us, teachers or bankers? The GOP is very clear on this issue. And it turns out that many on the right don't value public employees or teachers very much.
Question: teachers, public safety officers, the privileged elite?
Across America, Chris, we've had a huge inversion. There may have been a time a century ago where public employees were mistreated or vulnerable and and underpaid. If that was ever a problem, we have overfixed it. Not everywhere, but in many places. And as you know very well, public employees in America, most decidedly federal employees, but everywhere, are better paid than the taxpayer who pays their salary.
I want my dignity. I want my respect. I want my this. I want my health care.
Bunch of people who feel entitled to be freeloaders. I have no problem with teachers. Who doesn't want their teachers to make the most amount of money, but in a realistic, free enterprise sort of way?
I love that. In a realistic free enterprise sort of way where they actually get their salaries cut, we pay them much less, and maybe we fire them. That's his idea of a realistic free market way. By the way, did you catch that other stuff? We've overfixed the problem. Yeah, we're way overpaying the teachers and the public employees, and that they are better paid than the private sector. Not true. For the 18th time, not true. And they're freeloaders, please. Now, what does the right wing value? Of course, money and those who make it. Now, here's a fairly typical clip of Bill Kristol on Fox News rushing to the defense of Goldman Sachs when government lawyers were releasing their emails as part of a fraud investigation.
Emails? I mean, what is that about? That wasn't leaked. It's the Senate Banking Committee, if I'm not mistaken, simply released private emails from Goldman Sachs. It's an outrage.
An outrage! How dare they go after Goldman Sachs? Goldman Sachs must be protected at all costs. So are Republicans right? Are teachers overpaid and bankers underpaid? Well, let's find out. On this program, we show you the numbers. You can make the decision on your own, but this one's going to be pretty easy. Let's compare what teachers make in salary to those of bankers. For example, average public school teacher salary in the country is $55,350. In Wisconsin, it's $48,000. How dare they? Look at that privileged elite. Now, how about the Wall Street bonuses? Now, this is per employee in 2010. Blackstone, $810,717 per employee in bonus. That's not even their salary. Greenhill and Company is $551,000. Deutsche Bank is $510,000. Lazard is $501,000. Goldman Sachs, poor guys, what are they doing all the way at number 5 there? $431,000. And of course, the overall bonus average across Wall Street per employee is $128,530. And that is, again, their bonus, not even their salary. By the way, you may recall that a couple of those banks also got bailout money from the government, i.e. us, the U.S. taxpayers. Both Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank got it. But of course, teachers make too much money from the public, right? The privileged elite that they are. Absurd! All right, now with me is Kerry Kittle. He's one of those high-paid teachers, except that he just got word that he's been laid off as a teacher in the new Richmond School District in Wisconsin. He'd been a teacher for 32 years. Kerry, what happened here? How did you find out that you got laid off? When does it go into effect? Tell me your story.
You bet. Thanks a lot for having me. Pleasure to be here. We got layoff notices last Thursday. Our district employs 204 people, certified teachers, that's district-wide, and every person received a layoff notice. That means that our contract will continue, our employment will continue until the end of the school year, and effective July 1st, those layoffs would take effect if they were permanent. The layoffs, the board made pretty clear the layoffs were a direct reaction to the unknowns in Governor Walker's budget. Everybody knew big cuts were coming, so they, acting on advice of council, decided to lay off everybody to meet some contract deadlines. I believe they're going to do their best to call as many people back as possible, but until they get the governor's budget numbers and understand the depth of the cuts into Richmond, they're not going to be able to make a real projection. So effective at the end of the year, those folks will be laid off, but I fully expect the district to bring probably all but perhaps 20 of those people back. That's still an awfully big cut for our district.
Right, so 20 teachers might be laid off ultimately, but a lot of you are getting notices anyway. All right, so tell me about the practical consequence of that for the teachers and for the students.
Well, for the students, it's caused a lot of uncertainty. They follow the news, and we talk about these issues. I teach an American government class, and obviously it's a big issue in the state. It's kind of hard to avoid it if you watch TV in Wisconsin. But they're concerned. I mean, students have asked me in the class, Mr. Kittle, does this mean that we're going to lose advanced placement classes? Does this mean we're going to lose extracurriculars? And I tell them the possibility is very, very real. So there'll be some real impact to students. Obviously, if they're going to take 20 staff members away, class sizes are going to be increased. So that means less attempt, for example, reading programs in the low grades, if there's fewer people to do that. That's a direct consequence. I'm a secondary teacher in the high school. Our numbers probably average in the neighborhood of 25 to 28 per class right now. If they have significant reductions, we could be looking at 35, 38 in the classroom. And when you add additional students, it's difficult to give individual attention to those students that are in the room.
All right, Kerry, now I want to know why you got into teaching, okay? Because the Republicans tell me it's because you're greedy and you wanted to make more than the private sector, and then the poor bankers got to get bailed out, but we're overpaying you. So was it the greed?
Well, not directly. I come from a family of teachers. One of my favorite uncles was a math teacher in a small district called Amory, Wisconsin for a lot of years. And I admired his work. I saw how much he enjoyed his work. And as I grew older, I'm a people person, and so I was thinking about those kinds of careers where you could combine the two. I actually was considering a career in journalism, and as I was working through the preparation, one of my instructors was a history professor, and he called me aside one day, and he said, Kerry, you're pretty good with people. You show a good aptitude for subject matter. I think you'd make a good teacher, and would you consider it? And I did, and finished in teacher preparation. And for the last 32 years, I've been able to do what I love every day with a great group of people.
Well, as life turns out, if you were in journalism, you might have gotten laid off anyway. So it's tough times for everybody out there. Of course, except for the bankers. They're doing great. They hit record bonuses again this year. All right, Kerry, I hope you're back there with the kids very soon. We really appreciate you coming out here.
Thank you.
All right.
Now, the Republicans are focusing on cutting Social Security, Medicare, cutting benefits, not cutting military spending. But if you look at the reality, if we just increase taxes to 2% of the population, increase taxes, estate taxes, and increase capital taxes, we could get in a snap of a finger $154 billion without sacrifice anyone in the middle class. Can you believe that? And if you look at the polls, Americans understood better than politicians why we need to increase those kind of taxes to balance the budget. 40% are in favor to increase taxes. 40% of the Americans. And even more, the people agree that raise taxes will reach 61% of the people, cut Medicare only 4%, and cut Social Security only 3%. American. How much the nation's income does richest 1% get? In the 70s it was 9%, now it's 23.5%. They have 281% increase in the last 15 years. While the middle class spend less and less, and this is a problem because they should be the one that should spend more and more to keep the economy ongoing, while the upper class, the 1% of the people, they spend the minimum for them, that's it. But at the very end, they don't spend in the way that the economy can go, or go in the right way. They don't spend for everybody as it should be. And always remember who really increased the debt in the last 15-20 years in this country. Republicans.